Okay, it got a third, or 33%, 33 and a third percent attendance. Unless Clayton shows up, better make it 50% attendance. Two ladies, they do keep up. One young man's out there somewhere. He has not sent me a summary, and I asked you all to do that. You four that are not here today, and we got a test coming up soon, probably not this Thursday, the next week. Now, to be open book test on 2, 3, and 4, but it's tough. You know, there's a lot in those chapters. Now, I think I assigned the even problems on chapter 3, right? Well, we're going to go ahead and look at 4 because chapter 4 and 3 are reverse chapters. All right. See if I can make it through this class. I started calling some bad and principals. I dismissed 15 minutes early. Man, Joel, I always dismiss 15 minutes early because that's my lunchtime. So, there's Mr. Clayton. Now we got 50% present. Okay, items that are not income is unrealized income, self-help. John, do you live with your mom and dad?
Yes.
Does your mom work?
Yes.
Well, whether she works or not, if she did stuff for you around home, if she cooked for you, if she did your clothes, if she cleaned your room, any of that she does, you know, that's, she don't get income for that. That's self-help income. If you repair your own car, that's self-help. Rental value of personal use property, items that are not income. Just because you got an extra car, you don't want to rent it out, you don't report the rental income. That's a silly one to put in there. Gross sales price of property. No, you are taxed on the net gain from that property, not from the gross sales price. So let's glance at a few things. Exclusions, gifts, life insurance. Now, we talked about some of these. They're reverse of the other chapter. Welfare, certain scholarships, injury payments, employee benefits, foreign income, tax exempt interest, double E bonds, leasehold improvements, those achievement awards, divorce payments, gain from sale of home, Roth IRA distribution, COD, and SS benefits. Now, it seems like we've talked about these before. Well, we may have talked about them because I know I've not showed you the PowerPoint in this chapter, have I? Well, if I have, stop me at any time. We can flip. I know your assignment for the day was do the even problems on chapter 3. Your continuing assignments do the even problems on chapter 4. Okay? We'll try to get to those before we have a test. All right, let's look at some of these in detail. Face value of life insurance proceeds paid on death, not taxable. If a taxpayer purchases a policy, all right, now this one, now look at number 2 there. Jonathan, you got a life insurance on your mom and dad. All right. Now, if they die, you got this face value tax free. But let's say you sold that to your sister. Now she's paying the premiums. She will be taxed on it because she entered into it for a profit. And she will only get to deduct the premium she paid. She's taxed on the remainder. Okay. Now, generally, if life insurance is sold for a lump sum prior to death, you know, I see a lot of ads like that on TV. You know, if you got $100,000 worth of life insurance, come in, let us. Now, they calculate your life expectancy from an annuity table, and they want to know when they're going to get their money. That's all life insurance is anyway. The insurance company's betting you'll live, and you're telling them you'll die. You're betting them that you'll die. That's why you need life insurance. Okay. All right. Now, double indemnity. Most policies, if you get killed in an accident, will pay double indemnity. So I usually tell my female students take life insurance out on their husband, make sure they got double indemnity, get him up on a ladder, paint the house, and knock out the ladder. And it's an accident, they'll collect double. I've been paying, golly, $83 a month for a $50,000 policy for up 10 years. I probably paid 50 into it. Insurance company likes that too. I didn't die. All right. Now, dividends on life insurance policies, return to premium. Do you all know what kind of insurance this is? All right. Let's say, Cole, your parents took out an insurance policy on you when you were 2 years old, and it's a 20-year policy. All right. Now, if you die at less than 20, they collect. But if you live 20 years to 22, you collect. So it pays you if you die or if you live for that number of years. Those are expensive, though. Those are expensive. I did start on this because I was telling you about my mother-in-law getting that cheese. All right. Awards made for religion, charity, scientific education. All right. What award did the former President Obama receive? Anybody know? There are a bunch of Republicans. So, anyhow, well, if I asked you this, what cuss word does Trump use? He uses hell and damn, and even SOB, a lot of things like that, but hell and damn's real often. Anyway, Obama got the Nobel Peace Prize. That's a big prize. He didn't apply. He did not apply. He does not have to go around and give speeches. Now, if you have to go around and give speeches for your award, you're taxed on it. If he designates the amount of money to a charity. So if Obama gave that to a charity, he's not taxed on it. If he kept it, he's taxed on it. Now I just used Obama as an example. Did any of you all watch Trump a couple of weeks ago up in Charleston? Did you know he was in Charleston? You did, Clayton? Well, my girlfriend's sister and her husband, they live way down my way, even farther. It would have taken them 2.5 hours to drive to Charleston. But they were sitting right beside Trump in those stands. They both had on their coal miners' hats, like we dig coal, we mine coal. They were holding up signs, support coal. That was okay. Support women's rights. That's okay. But the woman has never worked in a mine. Her sitting there with a coal miner's hat on was fake news. Her husband sitting there with a coal miner's hat on, but he quit working in the coal mines 4 or 5 years ago. But it looked like they were both coal miners. That was fake news. All right. Paid to allow students to obtain a degree. Now, a lot of my international students get sports scholarships and it pays half of their rent. I don't know what else it pays. Qualified tuition is okay. Fees are okay. Books are okay. Supplies is okay. And equipment's okay. All right. Scholarship money that covers room, board, and laundry. All right. Paid to allow a student to obtain a degree at a college or university. It says they're limited to qualified tuition and related expenses. So I wonder why they put that room and board in there. Now, most states now have a tuition program. You know, a lot of parents, let's say Bluefield State, what is the tuition up here? A semester, Clayton?
What is it, like 36?
3,600 a semester? Do y'all know that is the cheapest four-year college within 100 miles? That's cheapest. All right. Now, if Jonathan's mother knew he was going to go to college, she makes him go, whatever you do to get him to go. Mine just knew that college was in their future. Jonathan's mother might have paid so much a year into the state of West Virginia. I know Virginia has it. She may have only paid in like $5,500, but it could have grown to $7,200 with the present future value tables, which you all will get in finance. They can be withdrawn tax-free if they're used to pay for higher education expenses. If Jonathan was the beneficiary, qualified tuition plans are offered by states or private universities. Individuals enter prepaid for tuition, either prepaid for tuition credits or participate in a plan similar to 529. So here's what we got, 529 and QTP. Qualified tuition plans, QTP. Qualified expenses equal tuition, books, fees, and room and board. Now here, your expenses is about, excuse me, everything. Anybody ever get hurt in a car accident? You drive, Cole? You look like a wild driver.
Not really.
Not? Have you ever been in a car accident?
No.
You're doing good.
So far.
How about you, Jonathan? No car accident? Clayton?
Yeah, I've been in cars.
Fender benders or what? Okay. So nobody got hurt. All right. My grandson, excuse me. I had a little black BMW 05 convertible. 330 is in mint condition. I might have had 80,000 miles on it. Didn't have a dent, didn't have a scratch. One of the seats was getting a little war place, but my son fixed that. 16-year-old should never have done that. It was totaled in 3 months. But wasn't his fault. This woman come out of cutting off in front of him, going over to a station. So he got money out of it. Okay. He got hurt. So he got about $3,000 because it hurts back a little bit. Not much, but a little. And that's not taxable. Now, my grandson, I have a 350 Mercedes SUV. I have 160 or 70,000 miles on it, 150. So out of his insurance money, I sold it to him for $2,000. He put new tires on it and had $3,000 in it. But it being all-wheel drive, it was an 05 also, like the BMW. He had to go out in the mountains and try it out, dent up bumpers and put duct tape on the bumpers. So then, about 3 weeks ago, totaled it. 1 a year. But now he ran through a coffee shop, a brick building. They put pictures of it on the coffee shop. They were remodeling it, they had not opened. There were only 2 workers in that coffee shop on the other end. Fortunate, nobody got hurt. He said he had to swerve to miss this other car. True, the police didn't give him a ticket. Now I can drive from here to home today. He says it wasn't his fault, but the other guy went on, he couldn't prove it, so his insurance has to pay the bill, right? Now I can go out here, any of you 3, go out here and drive home today. You could have an accident with another car that was not your fault if you wanted to. Some nut pulls out in front of it, you hit him. But most of you are watching, you're not on your cell phones or what have you. You will stop. You avoid that accident. You're the defensive driver. My grandson don't. That's 2 he's totaled. So out of that $2,000 Mercedes, and it was duct tape all over the bumpers, the insurance company gave him $6,500. My son had a $1,000 deductible on it. So he took that $5,500 and bought him an 08 Volvo. So I hope he don't wreck it. All right. And he totaled one at 16, he totaled one at 17. So he's turned 18 now. So I hope he don't total another. I got a sister in Michigan. She worked at a small automotive parts plant, and she was a shop steward. And a backhoe didn't have the beeper on it, came out and hit her, and knocked her a long ways. She got brain injury, and she's got short-term memory loss, but she can still function, and she can remember everything from way back. But if you let her go out walking for 2 miles, short-term memory loss, she couldn't get back home. Now, workman's comp has been paying her for 20-some years. It's not taxable because that was physical injury. All right, Clayton, you think you'll ever need this? You know what it is? Nobody knows what it is? Have you ever been to a nursing home? Long-term care. Okay? You all will need it someday. I may need it sooner than later. All right? And it flies by, guys. It flies by. Medical expenses paid by health insurance premium cannot be deducted by the taxpayer. Now, if you're health insurance plan pays your medical expenses, you are not taxed on them, no matter what that says. All right, employee fringe benefit plans are not taxable. EE, employee. Okay. Jonathan, where'd you say you worked? Do they have any fringe benefits at all? You don't work 40 hours, do you?
No.
If you work 40 hours, you might get some health insurance.
They offered it to me, so for the facility from here, so.
You'll get it cheaper, maybe. Do you ever see the owner, Steve Smith? So I worked for his daddy when it was Piggly Wiggly in Grundy. And even when I went to school at UVA Wise, I would just come in and come in on Friday or Saturday. It didn't matter when. I'd go in and put it on an apron and go to work. I didn't. They just told me whenever I could come in and work. But that was Steve Smith's daddy. Then later they turned the Piggly Wigglies into Food Cities. Now I don't know how many states they have them in, quite a few.
It's 3 states.
Huh?
3,
At least 3. I know they're down in Tennessee.
Virginia, Kentucky.
I'm pretty sure they're in Kentucky. I'm surprised they haven't spread into the Carolinas. But the old man Jack is dead. His son is running. His son has a big home down on South Holston Lake, Steve does. All right, we get free parking up here. We get a little bit of life insurance, a little bit of help on our health insurance. We do have the gym if we want to go to it. But now parking is a biggie in some of these cities. All right, generally, this is tax-free. All right, exceptions. Premiums for employer-provided term life insurance. Now, this is term. Will be included in your income. Here's the key. Employers can deduct the expenses. The employee generally does not. Now, the employer cannot discriminate. That means all 3 of you work at one plant, and the owner don't like Jonathan's looks, so he'll give this insurance to Cole and Clayton, but Jonathan, no. Well, that's discrimination. All right, you're an airplane stewardess. Clayton, have you ever been on a big airplane? Jonathan? No, Cole? All right, those stewardesses and even the pilots. Now, what this means, if they want to take a vacation in Italy, their company's flying there, and they got a vacant seat, they can go and pay nothing for that airfare. And they don't have to be taxed on it either. Employee discounts. Food City give you a discount, Jonathan? Cole? Don't work. Clayton, you work anywhere? My son started working at Cracker Barrel. Grandson, I want to wreck the cars. Now, his mom and dad and his brother and sister and his family, they could go there and eat. or buy anything in the store and get 35% discount because he works at Cracker Barrel. Now, company cars is another story. Sometimes you're taxed on it. But now little bitty things like this means small, a Christmas party, coffee, those are not taxed. All right, now look at the meals and entertainments. If you attend and pay for business meals with customers, you don't have to include the cost of the meal in your income. Now, you're a real estate salesperson. You take a buyer or potential buyer out to dinner. You can deduct that, and the buyer does not have to include it. Adoption expenses, if your money is between this or over this, over. But if it's under this, I should put under. You can take that much adoption expenses. Cole, are you sure you're not adopted?
I don't think I am.
Okay. I don't think you are either. But I had a niece and nephew. The nephew's 28 now. The niece is about 24. And my brother didn't tell them until 3 or 4 years ago that they were adopted. He should have. But they were relative. They were related to my brother's wife. She had a cousin that lived down in Florida. She had 8 kids by 8 different men. She adopted 7 of them out and kept 1. So these 2 kids my brother adopted, they were half brother and sister. They were half. Finally, he told them. When I told him, he should have told them when they were under 10 years old. And they've got to meet their real mom since then and all that. All right, death benefits is $5,000 a year. If a company awards the widow or widower $5,000. All right, fringe benefit types. All right, a cafeteria plan is not a meal ticket. In the business world, it's a smorgasbord of benefits. Take the cash if you want to, but anyway, you can select maybe life insurance, disability insurance. You can select a profit sharing plan. That's what a cafeteria plan is. And a pretty big company has a book about the size of your textbook of what their cafeteria plan includes. All right, gym, yeah. That's a fringe benefit. We've got it. Now, if your employer, and I've had a lot of students at the bank paid their tuition, but they have to maintain a C or better. Meals and lodging. I am not required to stay on campus at Bluefield State. But if I were and they gave me free lunch, it would not be taxable. But since I'm allowed to leave campus and they give me a free lunch, it would be taxable to me. Now, lodging, if you're a forest ranger, you got a cabin out in the forest. If you got a bed on an oil rig, they have to stay with the job, don't they? And their lodging is not taxable or meals. Now, the same thing, if you are the landlord, if you are the manager of an apartment complex and you have to live in one of the apartments, it's not taxed to you. There's some good deals out there when it comes to taxes. The lodging has to be a condition. Do you know that a preacher could deduct the rental value of his home if it's not furnished by the church? He can deduct his telephone and water and electricity. He can deduct all of those. If he has a robe, do you know he can deduct that robe as an expense? If he goes visit a sick member in the hospital, he can take off so much a mile. Preachers don't have it bad when it comes to taxes. They have a choice when it comes to Social Security. If they start it, they can't drop it, but they don't have to start paying in Social Security like most everybody does. Who else is probably staying on the premises? Excuse me. Or rig, forest rangers, who else might have to stay on the premises? The apartment manager, can you think of anybody else? All right, we had a lot of hurricanes down south, Texas, New Orleans, so on. If an employer sends his workers down there and pays for their lodging, it's not taxable to them. If he pays for their meals, it won't be taxable to them. Well, a fireman can deduct his meals. He has to stay close to the station. Hospital personnel need to be there. They are provided meals. Now, here's the general situation. This is the one I go by. Generally, U.S. citizens are taxed on all income. All. I'm going to skip that foreign income real quick. Now, briefly, I didn't look at these particular PowerPoints with you. But I know when we were talking about discharge of a debt, I told you that Missouri was forgiven about $30,000 of student loan. Now, if the government forgives your student loan, it's not taxable. I don't know why his was forgiven. And I did his taxes. I tried to get around it. Couldn't find no way. But we didn't admit to it that it was taxable. The IRS sent him a bill for $9,000. Discharge of debt. Same with credit cards. If it's a gift or bequest, taxpayer does not include income, sure. If a reduction in the purchase price, taxpayer does not. That's like I said, my grandson got to 35%. What is COD? We've seen that. Has anybody picked up on what COD is? COD. Something to do with debt. Something to do with discharge of debt. We're looking at bankruptcy. See, I worked in the teaching profession in a poverty-stricken region, and my student loan was forgiven. It was called a grant back then. All right, folks, that is the main things in chapter 4. All right. I'm only going to keep you to about 1:30. That's probably about as long as I could make it today. We'll go back to chapter 3. Now, we did a tax problem in chapter 2. Is that correct? We did a tax problem in chapter 2. All right. Without bringing up solutions on these, okay? Number 34. For each of the following items, indicate whether the individual taxpayer must include any amount. All right, employee of East Side bookstore are given their birthdays off with pay. What do you think? Well, your birthday pay will be in your regular paycheck, and they're going to take taxes out on it. West Side Hardware. Wait a minute. West Side Hardware gave each employee 10 shares of West Side stock worth $100 per share in lieu of a cash bonus. What do you think? Taxable? Well, if they can take a cash bonus, they pay taxes on bonuses. So now Walmart gives shares of stock, don't they? They do. All right. Let me show you on this one. I'll have to bring up the solutions. See, I did find the solutions for the 2019 edition. The PowerPoint, I have to use 18. All right, now look at number 34. Employees of Southside Manufacturing were allowed to take home the company's old computers when the company purchased new ones. Paid holidays are taxed, birthday included. Stock is taxed. The issuance of the old computers appears to be compensation. It's probably not. I don't think they should be taxed on those old computers. I wouldn't report them. I'd turn them in at zero value. They were junk. If computers outdated for the company, don't you think pretty much outdated for home use? Most things, you might confuse it. I put no value on it, I would pay taxes on it. But you see, the law says, yeah, if it's worth $100, pay taxes on $100. Always remember, most tax laws work in IRS favor, but there are tax loopholes. We'll try to look at them as we go along. IRS gets ripped off every year because of black market items. We mentioned that. West Virginia has a law. I know West Virginia has moonshine, don't it? I'm sure there's prostitution in West Virginia, especially Morgantown and Harvardburg, Charleston. Somebody said down here on Main Street, Bluefield, if a woman is walking down the road, I don't know if she has some kind of band on her arm, or a card that she's supposed to. Y'all heard that? It said, drive down this main street. If there's a woman walking, I don't know if she has a card, what it is, but she lets people know she's supposed to. Okay? I know where I got that from. I'll ask her what that was. So I want to pass this on to Coke. Okay. I did go. All right. Number 36. All right, Gorman opens a retail store. His sales during the first year are 600,000. 30,000 has not been collected at year end. Her purchases are 400,000. She will owe 20,000 to her suppliers. And at year end, she has 50,000 of inventory on hand. She incurred operating expenses of 160. At year end, she has paid $15,000 of the expenses. What if she was on the cash basis? That's the B part. If she's on the cash basis, you can't take wages payable, can you? And you don't put down a receivable for income earned. So let me just let you look at this one. Look at the whole story. All right, why was sales 30,000 less? Because 30 of them were on accounts receivable, right? Purchases, all right, 20 of these were on accounts payable. Inventory, on cash basis, it looks like the part you use, not the part you purchase. You still owe for 15,000 expenses. So on a cash basis, you're getting by with paying taxes on 75,000. But to report it honest and true, this is the correct way. Jot down what you need. Now you have a choice sometimes. If you have a lot of merchandise inventory, you have payables and receivables, you got to use a hybrid method. You would use the accrual for sales and purchases, but you would have to use cash base for everything else. So IRS does accept a hybrid method. Okay. All All right. Now over here, it don't matter if you pay it or not. The income's going to be the same, isn't it? Don't matter if you pay it or not on the accrual basis. Number 38, alimony. As a result of their divorce, Fred agreed to pay alimony to Tammy of $20,000 per year. The payments are to cease in the event of their death or in the event of Tammy's remarriage. Tammy is to receive their resident, which costs them $100, but is worth $140. How will the $20,000 payments? All right, now you know how that alimony should be treated. How should we treat that alimony, Jonathan? If your wife gives you $20,000 alimony, what do you do with it? I have showed you that line on the 1040. You add it into income. What does your wife do with it? She deducts it as an adjustment. So, if you were doing it, vice versa. But whoever pays it takes it as an adjustment. Whoever receives it is taxed on it. Okay? Sure. There's been a lot of cases of movie stars, husbands getting big money in alimony. Oh, yeah. And some states have palimony. Now, palimony, I hope Virginia doesn't have it. Doesn't catch me. Some states, if you live with a woman long enough, whether you're married to her or not, you pay palimony. IRS don't mention that, though. How will the payments be treated if the divorce is covered by new law? Huh. How did the new law treat that? We better look at that one. Now read A there, please. Read A. Now that's the old law. How long is this old law good for here, Clayton? They show you right here. How long is that good for? This year only. December 2018. But under Trump's new law, you can't do anything with it. That sucks. If I pay alimony, I want to deduct it and let her pay taxes on it. That's only fair. But Trump has changed it. The base of the resident is still $100,000. She should not be taxed on it. All right, the base of the home stays the same. She's not taxed on the home. Their money bought that home. Why should be paying taxes on it again? All right, we're going to do a couple more, and I'm going to have to call it a day, folks. Look at number 40. Constructive dividends, an unreasonable salary paid to a shareholder. Now, a lot of people get ridiculous salaries. Now, why would a corporation, Jonathan, why would a corporation that you work for rather give you a salary than a dividend? Does anybody know why? Clayton or Co? Does anybody know why? Are salary expenses deductible as a business expense? Yes. Dividends are not deductible anywhere. You get a better tax break if you could call it a salary. All right, so let's look at these. An unreasonable salary paid to the daughter of a shareholder. That's constructed dividend. A sale of a corporation's asset to a shareholder at fair market value, that's okay. If they sell it to you at fair market value, that's okay. A payment by the corporation to a shareholder's debt. A payment by a corporation if a shareholder's personal expenses. I want you to look at all of these in a lump sum. In absence of any alternative explanations, A, B, D, and E would likely be classified as dividends. Now, A, B, D, and E, which one's left? Now, what was C? A sale of corporation's assets at fair market value. That's fair, but the rest of them are dividends. So probably C would not be, since the sale of the property is at fair market value. Folks, I'm gonna let y'all go today. Hopefully I'm rid of these allergies by Thursday and coughing and whatever.